All right, welcome back to Beyond Mortgage. I'm Dan Trinidad, and for the second time, I've got Jen Du Plessis as a guest today. Jen, all of our listeners know who she is. I mean, she's been in the mortgage business, around the mortgage business over 30 years. She's got a phenomenal training coaching company called Kinetic Spark. She's launched a book. She has a book that's called Launch, and she's a founder and CEO of a real estate investment company, and she's a speaker in the industry. She's out. I don't know how much she's done this year because of COVID, but she's out and about. I'm sure you've seen her on video all over the place. Welcome, Jen.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm glad that we're having the opportunity to chat.
Yeah, it's crazy. So what are you up to these days? Given the fact that
What?
we're in COVID and you know,
Yeah. Well, COVID. I'll tell you what. COVID has been fantastic for me. That's what I have to say about it. Gosh, when COVID started, I was traveling 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. Last year, to kind of give you a perspective, last year I had 29 speaking engagements. This year I'm at 57 now. So I'm actually able to get my message out to help people more because of COVID. So I'm kind of liking this, and I can't wait to get back. I've been on stage once this year, about a month ago, and I said, "Oh, I have to be on stage because I just need that." Right. But I'm excited for the mix that it's going to be. And I think this is the way it's going to be for all of us going forward, regardless of what we do for a living. Um, but when it started, I initiated the 12-week year. And so in the first 12 weeks of COVID, I scooched my business ahead 1 year
yeah.
and hired some peeps, and I'm still not ready for it to be over. I'm still working on things I should have worked on years ago.
Yeah, it's cool. I like you. I feel the same way. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been a blessing. I mean, it's certainly sad for the people that have really suffered
of
with income
course.
or loss of life. But for me personally, for our company, it's been just a phenomenal year. I really
Yeah.
liked when it happened in March. I thought, wow, this is cool. No decisions on what to wear. I'm still just wearing a sweatshirt.
Right, right.
It's half
Right.
the days you don't have to shower, and
Yep, that's it. That's it. Well,
it's
they call it, what do they call it? Something from the waist up. You get dressed up from the waist up, right? And that's what we're doing, is we're getting dressed up from the waist up.
Exactly. So when you with your speaking engagements, you had 29 last year and 57 this year. Um, how did you do that? How did you coordinate
I
so many
don't know.
more?
I'll tell you, God is just blessing me. I mean, really, I don't know. I don't know. And it's funny. I mean, to share my vulnerability, when COVID started, I was freaking out because I've always done sort of random acts of marketing. If my flight was late, I'd go, "Oh, I think I should do a video," and I'll go ahead and pop a video on here, and sort of doing this random acts, and everybody said, "Oh gosh, everything's going to be online." And I thought, "Oh no, I got caught with my panties down. This is God saying, listen, I've been telling you that you need to do more in these areas, like all these different areas." And so anyway, I was all scared and everything, but it worked out. I mean, it worked out. There's no question. And now I just hired yesterday, ironically, someone to reach out and do some of, get me booked on things for next year, because I don't want to be caught with my panties down in that arena either. I've been blessed that people reach out to me, but what happens when they don't, right? Sort of like I've been blessed to be on stages, but what happens when I'm not?
Well, so what do you so
You
you,
know,
you sound like you almost prefer, I guess you liked being on stage, but
oh,
you
I
also
totally.
enjoy, would you rather be on stage than behind a camera?
Yes, I would
Okay.
rather be on stage because I'm a people person,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I do find like this too. And so I like that we're going to have a little bit about look. I turned 57 a couple weeks ago, maybe last week. I don't even remember when it is because I'm old now. But I turned 57, and I don't want to be sitting on an airplane all the
Right.
time.
Right.
And but I love being in front of people. I get charged up. I'm that high I. I'm the highest I rank. I think I'm 1 degree lower than what you could be for a high I in disc profiling. So I need people. I need people virtually, or I need them in person. But I really do. I love being on stage, and I love being able to share and be able to express myself larger. If that
Yeah.
make Does that make sense? I
Totally.
can stand up here and start being large, but you're missing the lower half. And
Hmm.
so I have a stand-up desk that's coming in. Matter of fact, sitting out here. We'll be doing that this weekend because I need to move. This sitting, I can't tolerate. That's the part I don't like.
Yeah, me too. I turned 60 this year, so I've got 3 years on you. Um, and I'm experiencing the same thing. A lot of sitting. I'm aching more. My back hurts. I got to spend
Yeah,
more time walking
man.
around and stretching my neck. It's that's
Yeah,
one of the downsides. But
yeah.
man, just catching up on all the things I procrastinated with over the last couple of years. I mean, I got them all done by April. It was just a really good feeling. And with
Yeah,
that, part of the beauty is business just kept going. In fact, it, kept
yeah,
increasing for us. So, now we weren't stuck home, wondering how we're going to make it. We're stuck home actually producing more loans than we ever have. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
was a
It's
good
a
thing.
blessing. It's a blessing for the industry. And we'll talk about that, what my feelings are on that.
Well, let's go there. 'Cause so what do you think's going to happen as we move forward?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to do any rate predictions. I could, like with everybody else, but we pretty much know that rates are going to stay relatively low next year. I mean, come on, you've been in the business for a long time. I got in at rates are 18.5%.
Yep.
So this is nothing, right? But this too shall pass, right? It will pass. So I think there's a couple things that I'm talking about with everyone right now, and I am being a disruptor. There is no question about it. I'm being a disruptor in this and saying, okay, short-term gain for long-term pain. Yep, you've had a great year. High five to yourself. Great year. Don't want to diminish that. Don't want to belittle that. But I do hear everybody running around saying, I've had the best year of my life. The market gave you this best year of your life.
No question.
What's going to happen when the market doesn't give you that? And when we look at something I utilize with my coaching students is the 4 stages of growth. It starts off, and by the way, so it's this graph, and it's over time your sales increase, right? Over time your sales increase. So when you start off at formulation, and we all do that, right? We have that formulation piece, you're not making as much money. And then you get into concentration and it starts changing. And then that turns into momentum. And then you have stability, right? Now, some people, you can look at this up online and find 5 stages of growth. And the 5th stage is success. Now, obviously, that takes you to success, right? But success for me isn't just money. And that represents just your sales go through the roof. For some people, success is being able to close 5 loans a month and breathe. 10 loans a month and breathe, not closing $100 million like I was doing, right? So it's that person's definition of success. So I think it just, it's like, get me to stability, whatever that means for me. So if you think about it, exactly a year ago, people were singing the blues.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, I don't know if I should be in this business. I don't know what to do. I'm not getting any business, any loans, right? I don't know where everybody's at. I can't crack any codes, right?
We were
And
hearing rumors of companies going out of business, some big
right,
ones.
right. And we even talked about, remember the old mortgage implosion website,
Yeah,
right? So we
yeah.
were talking about that.
Implodometer. That's right.
Yeah, right. And and every day we go, oh, they went under, they went under. So exactly a year ago, we were saying, woe is me. And here we're high on the hog, right? But it's not going to stay this way. And what happened, in my opinion, now look, there are people that had formulation, that had structure, that had momentum or a concentration, and that were doing things to scale their business. But there were a plethora of people that weren't doing that, and they simply got thrust into momentum. And their biggest challenge at that was, oh my gosh, all these hours, I've never done this many loans before. How do I do this? How do I do this? Oh my gosh, I'm working all these hours, right? And it was very stressful. And I think that they finally sort of have calmed down a little bit.
Mhm.
Volume has slowed, but we are in the holidays, so that's part of it. It's just a little tick off there. But they got thrust into this momentum when they weren't prepared for it.
Right. I mean, and,
So
and it and it wasn't just,
it
increasing
was,
by a couple loans. Your production was doubled inside of 30 days, and then it maybe doubled again in the
yeah,
next 30 to 60 days. We got to this period in May and June where everybody was getting hired up, the
yeah,
support teams, and trying to still give the customer a great experience while doing 3 4 times volume almost instantly. We thought, how are we going to do this? And what ended up happening is it never let up. So
No,
I mean, it was every single month up until last month was the first
yeah,
month we had just a slight
very
decline.
slight. Yeah,
And I'm starting to see um, symptoms of burnout. I'm starting to
yeah,
see, those behaviors like just little bit reckless, some stress,
yeah,
short-tempered with their loved ones.
yeah.
Um,
Everything in the wheel of life, right? Everything in
yeah,
the wheel of life. Yeah. And I call it, if I can say it, because every time I say it, I say maybe I need to come up with a different name for it, but I call it Zoominar zombieism, right? We have Zoominar zombieism as well. It's different than fatigue, but it's Zoominar zombieism.
did you come up with
And
that?
yeah, I did. I was like, okay, it's a Zoom webinar, so that's a Zoominar. And then I've heard people say that, and then I was like, it's Zoominar zombieism. That's what
I
we're
love it.
experiencing. And I'll share, kind of what that, because it is a psychological thing that we're experiencing, and I think that's wearing us down as well. It's not so much, oh, another Zoominar. There's some psychology behind it, but um, yeah, and I think, what I'm concerned about is that, if you're looking at these 4 stages and you get up to this momentum, that there's no safety net beneath the momentum when it stops. When the market isn't giving it to you, there's no safety net to keep the momentum high, to sustain what you have. And that's been a challenge for mortgage companies, owners of companies, that they're saying, well, is this sustainable? It can be, to that level, I don't know, but it can be. But we first have to create the structure. We have to go back to square one and say, what is the formulation of my practice? How am I going to concentrate? Because right now I'm not concentrating, I'm just reacting, right?
Right, right.
And so this is where some of all this burnout is coming from, is that people weren't prepared for the scalability. Top producers, they were already scaled, and they could scale even higher because they had systems in place that didn't matter if you were doing 10 loans or 40 or 50. It's scalable. You already built it. So
Yeah,
many
I
people
have I
don't have
have a
that piece.
couple loan officers that their production went from 4 or 5 loans a month up to 15 to 20, and they didn't even have an assistant in place.
Right.
And trying to interview and find somebody to join your team when you've got 20 loans in your pipeline and 20 more coming
The
in,
last thing you want to do. You
that's the
just want to
last
work
thing.
harder.
That's
Right.
right. That's right.
And then that creates problem in the wheel and stuff like that. Yeah. So the psychology behind this, and I have a couple of colleagues that are body language specialists, and I'm a believer that it isn't just the technical skills that we need in mortgage lending. We also need personal development skills. We need to always be climbing to new altitude. And that's what top producers do. They don't just go, hey, this is what I have. It's like, what else can I do? And maybe not going higher, but wider, right? So
Hmm.
they have
Hmm.
breathing room as well. And one of the things that she was telling me, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm not an expert in this, caveat, right? But let's just take my words and my body, okay? Words are 50%. So people are listening to this and they get 50%. If my body's 50% and you're only seeing half of my body, then you're only receiving 25% of what I'm saying. So the zombie zoominar is us being in a constant state of loading, like on a computer, loading, it's uploading, it's loading, it's loading, right? Because we're not seeing the full body. You're seeing half of what I am
Hmm.
physically telling you, or communicating, but your body's always trying to find the other half. Because if I'm standing here and I'm saying
I
to you, I'm
get
a
it. That's
powerful
wow.
woman, and I don't have my legs in a power stance, you can't connect those dots, right? Or if I'm saying I'm
Yeah.
right. And so we're
Wow.
always going, where's the other piece? Where's the other piece? And it's worse when people get on like this. Hi, I'm here. Right. And you have a
Yeah.
black screen because you don't
Right.
know anything.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's what emotionally has drained us. That's why, yes, this is good, but it's not the only thing. We
So what do you
have
advise? I mean, so what do you advise people to do?
well, one, when you're on video, when you're on these videos, you need to be on the video. You can't register and come into an event and then go hide behind the curtain and talk to people. You just can't do it. You have to be on screen.
Hmm.
Who cares what you look like? No one cares anymore. Gosh, I was interviewing Hal Alrad, who wrote The Miracle Morning,
Right.
not even 3 weeks ago. And I had this screen up, which I had to buy during COVID, right? Because right back there is our bedroom. And my husband came out of the bedroom putting on his shirt. I'm
That's
like,
something
what
I
the
would do.
French toast? Right? And he's in the business. I
Hey,
go,
we're guys.
I'm going live. I'm going live, right? And he comes walking out there like that. And my dog, you know how dogs are. They like to do what they like to do. And I'm doing that, right? They like to do that. He's done that on here. And I'm like, you can't do that either. And but you know what? We don't care. I don't care if you don't have your makeup on. I don't care if you have a hat on. I don't care if you have a shower. I don't care. I want people. I want that connection with people, right? But I think one of the things that she told me, first of all, you and I are both good. We're in center. We're in the center of the screen. We're not we're not like this. We're not looking up our noses, right? We're in the center of our screen, and we have to over animate,
Hmm. Okay.
because this is what I see on. Yeah.
Was I just doing that?
Uh, I don't know. I don't know.
I'll
I don't
sit
know,
up.
because the other thing is I'm looking at the camera. I'm not looking at you. Now I'm looking at you.
Right.
Okay. So, huh. Right. So we have to over animate. So I would say, if you're going to be on a webinar, and if you're a loan officer and you're going to teach other people on a webinar, you better plan to pretend like you're on stage giving it, be Tony Robbins, right? Over exaggerate everything, because it keeps people entertained. I mean, engaged.
I love it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what's your what's your take? What's your advice on balance? So balance, as we know, it's tough to be really in balance. I think that's
Yeah. I don't
somewhat of a
believe in it.
myth,
Yeah.
right? But there's that wheel,
Yeah.
and if you get too far off with your health, with your very important
Yeah.
relationships, with money, it could absolutely destroy your business. I'm seeing, we've talked before about this, but I'm seeing relationships
Yeah.
being challenged. I'm seeing loan officers, typically younger ones that haven't been in the business that long, haven't been through these types of markets we've gone through. As you know, the next market is going to be
Down.
challenging. I don't know if it's going to be in 2 months or 2 years, but
Yeah.
the next market is going to be it dries up, as you know, and
Yeah.
everybody's like looking around, like, now what do I'm going to do? I just
Yeah.
bought this Mercedes. I just bought, these watch. I have a watch collection, and
Yep.
I'm watching these loan officers spend money like this is going to last forever. And I'm, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm watching relationships crumble.
Well, yeah.
What
Yeah.
can you
And I
say
mean,
about that?
historically, we are the industry that has the highest, divorce rate. I mean, it's almost like it used to be that was a prerequisite that you had to be an alcoholic and you had to be divorced in order to be in the business.
I never heard that
Because
one, really.
Yeah, because, oh gosh, Thirsty Thursdays? Are you kidding me, in this industry? Yeah, I mean, it was both of those. And yeah, and of course this is putting a lot of pressure on all of those aspects. I think I'm most concerned, definitely most concerned about everyone's business. But inside of that, and what I coach on, is that we have this tendency to build the business and make it the strongest part of our wheel, right? The steel, the wheel itself, and then allow for the fluff. If we have time, we'll put our fluff or our life around this wheel.
Right.
And we have holes poked in it, and the treads rearing off, right? And it just needs a revamp. So if we can invert that and make our life the steel, the strength, the strong part, and then build the business around it, then we're going to have a more sustainable business, in the long haul. And so it really is just, I say, getting back to basics. But I want to say one thing here too. I don't even think it's younger loan officers. I think it's older loan officers who forgot.
Yeah, this has been a long, good market. I see that happening a little bit too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
long and older loan officers that forgot, older loan officers who are new to the business, who've never made this kind of money and don't know.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I mean, we better be saving for a rainy day. So yeah, what I'm telling all my clients is that we need to be, taking care of ourselves here. I think, as I said before, the business is a concern, but the secondary thing is health. Health, this sitting that we're doing is not going, yeah, you're in pain today, but it's actually going to affect us years from now. We'll be looking back and saying, did you have COVID sitting on your butt syndrome or something,
Right,
COVID
right.
chair syndrome. So I think health is probably the primary one that I'm hearing even from my clients. So we all have, this year, my entire coaching, I just said, hey, would everyone be interested in working on health as one of the things we work on? Instead of all of us picking our own, let's do health and then let's do our business. So we're all working on that. I'm 100% plant-based, but I'm only plant-based because my husband had 3 heart attacks 6 years ago, and he's in this business.
Whoa.
And
So
that
you
was
know it well. Yeah.
years of stress, years and years and years of stress. And we're working in a constant, if you've ever heard of lizard brain, right? The
Yeah.
fight or flight, we're working in a constant state of fight or flight. And that's what creates stress, heart attacks, being angry and fussy with your whatever, your clients, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to learn to breathe. And I learned from a brain neurologist that if we take 5 deep breaths in and out, hold for 5 or go for 4 seconds. So it'd be 4, 4, 1. Do that 5 times.
Hmm.
Focus on our breathing. It
Hmm.
takes us out of that state so that we can focus.
Wow. That's good.
And it's healthy for us because it gets air into our brains, right? So simple tip. Simple tip, gamifying everything that we're doing. I can't sit at my desk until I've done that, until I've done 15 push-ups. Like for me, I don't get my tea until I do 15 push-ups on my counter,
I
right?
do the same thing. That's
On
funny.
my counter. I can't this, that, and the other until I'm trying to drink more water, right? So I can't be on this call until I've had a glass of water. So I better go get that glass of water, right? So I think health is a big thing. So I'll leave that. Absolutely, business is a big thing.
Well,
And
I advise people to get their health on the calendar first, whether it's
of
meditation in the
course,
morning, whether it's running, whether it's,
that's the
whatever it
core.
is, get that on the calendar first.
That's the core. That
Get
is
your,
the core. Get time with your family, get dinner with your family. You have to leave the office in your home. You have to leave that office and be there with your family. And really this helped me do that for 2 reasons. One, he wasn't going to be going back and forth, but 2 is I scooch that along to this edge so that my office is closed.
Mhm.
And I don't go in because we're bored sometimes. I'm not saying we are, but okay, we're done that. We ate, and now what do? We sit and we watch TV. Oh, well, maybe I'll just go back in and work.
Right.
And there's
I'm finding it. So I thought, oh man, I need a break. So I went outside, took my dog for a walk. It's about almost about 3/4 of a mile. And I got such peace from that. I had my AirPods in, so I'm having a call. By the time I get back, just being outdoors, fresh air, I felt good. And it's turned now I'm doing through that 3 times a day. I'm doing it
yeah, you
morning,
have
afternoon,
to.
and evening.
Yeah,
And
you
it
have
feels
to.
so good.
Do you know why that is?
The
Do you know why that
medical
is?
reason.
Because people will say, why don't you just go outside and take a breath of fresh air?
Hmm.
Get your act together, get your head on straight, right? It's because the earth vibrates at the same hertz. I'm going to say hertz because I don't know if they're megahertz, somebody hertz, right? The earth's vibration is the same as a human being. And when we
Whoa.
go outside and touch the earth, we're
Uh-huh.
back in sync.
That's very
That's why
interesting.
that's like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
It's not
cool.
that I'm into this woo-woo stuff, but
You're
I'm
weird.
learning it. I'm learning it. I'm learning how I tick and how my clients tick and those things.